back to Homemaking with Mima. If you are new here, my name is Wendy. Today's video is going to be regarding revisiting some of our favorite freezer meals. Friends, this video is regarding revisiting some of our favorite freezer meals. Now, our meal times have changed quite a bit because there's 3 of us in the household here, and we're all doing special diets that we've created ourselves to help with better health and weight loss, mostly weight loss. So it's not that we're never going to revisit these freezer meals again, because they are some of our favorites, and some of them we still actually eat. It's more moderation. So, all right, here we go. So the one freezer meal that I'm going to make is tater tot hot dish. And what I always do is I always put a layer, just a real thin one, at the bottom of the dish. Not much. I've got to try to make this one bag do these 2, and I'm going to do it. I pre-cooked 3 chubs of hamburger with some onion yesterday because I'm going to be doing tater tot hot dish, goulash, but I'm not putting the meat in with the goulash. I have some canned spaghetti with meat in it. But I'm also going to be doing a lasagna soup, and then we'll see what I have left over. Now, I really don't have measurements. I just use what I have on hand. I try to keep some of the ingredients, you know, like the tater tots and that for it. But what I like to use is some sour cream, cream of chicken soup, cream of mushroom soup, and the hamburger, and cheddar cheese. So I apologize if you're looking for a recipe. There isn't one. Be creative. Use what you have. If I have any of this meat mixture left over, I'm going to freeze it and write on the container tater tot hot dish base. And I'm going to use 2 cans of each. So I do have some left over, because I have plenty of the burger. And I always have my garbage near me as well. I add this sour cream just because it gives it, you know, a little bit more depth of flavor. And I just have a little bit in here, so I'm going to put the rest of this in here. I'm not going to use any salt and pepper we can put on when we get ready to eat it. The only thing I'm going to add in here is some seasoned salt. So there's salt in it already. But the soups have salt too. So I'm just going to put a light dusting of that in here. And then I'll put some on top as well. So right now I've just got 2 cups in there, and we'll see how that looks. I will have some left over, I'm pretty sure. If you want to make it stretch, leave it at that. Then you've got yourself 2 meals. As you can see, these aren't very large pans. It's just usually my husband and I that eat. That's what this one is going to be made for. Plus, like I said, I only have 1 bag of tater tots. I am not running up to get more tater tots. This is what I had on hand, and this is what I'm going to use. But if you want to make it stretch, don't add any more burger in there, and it looks really good. But I'm going to add about 1/2 cup more. So there it is. Tater tot hot dish base. So I needed to use these tater tots up anyway, because if you can see in the bottom, and I know I'm not the only one that deals with this, there's a lot of ice. And that's why I was sticking my hands in there and not dumping the whole bag on there, because I didn't want all of this in my hot dish. So I'll just lightly sprinkle Lawry's seasoning on the top. And now I'm going to cover it with foil and saran wrap. I forgot, I also put a layer of parchment paper and I try to cut it to size before I put the foil on. Especially if you have cheese on the top. I don't have that much cheese, but I'm good. The next freezer meal I'm gonna do, it's going to be goulash. And again, no recipe. I use what I have on hand. And goulash is pretty much more of a an Italian based, it's like spaghetti pretty much, but with a smaller noodle, not spaghetti noodles. And you can add in whatever you want. So I've got spaghetti sauce that I canned. I need to get this used up. I have some tomato sauce. I'm not going to use all the tomato paste, and some petite diced tomatoes, and I've got some green peppers I'm going to be putting in there as well. While I'm getting this all together, I am cooking some elbow noodles. So I had some green peppers that I had in the refrigerator, and I diced them up and I froze them. I didn't flash freeze them though, so heed warning. Flash freeze them first before you put them in bags, otherwise you end up with these chunks and you gotta struggle to get what you need. I'm not gonna use all of this tomato paste. I'm gonna use a couple teaspoons. That's just what that is. And I'm gonna put probably half of this tomato sauce in here. And I'm gonna get this mixed up just to break up that tomato paste. I apologize if you hear a dog in the background. I have my windows open and the neighbor dogs are barking at each other. So when you have canned items, you check it to make sure the seal was good. The seal was good. I heard the suction from it, and you smell it, and it smells really good. I'm gonna add this whole thing in here, so I wanna use it up. We'll get that mixed together. I'm gonna take the whole can of diced tomatoes. Petite, I like using the smaller ones. My family tends to like it better too. Get that mixed in there. And I'm not gonna add any of that pre-cooked hamburger that I had because there was meat in the spaghetti sauce. There's the green pepper. Okay, I found some real Parmesan cheese in the refrigerator and it needs to be used up. So this is gathering your stuff and use what you have and try to use it up. And so I'm gonna incorporate all of this in there. And that's one more dish out of my refrigerator. Get this stirred in. All right, that is it. So it is, goulash is what you make of it. Depends on where you were brought up. Depends on what country you're from, possibly. It's using what you have. And in today's day and age, we just have to use what we have to get by to feed our families because groceries are out of control. for the lasagna soup, I'm just gonna wing it again. I'm gonna use what I have on hand. And I cooked up that burger, so I have that right here. I have some beef broth, some tomato sauce, tomato paste, diced tomatoes, more tomato sauce if I need it. I have an extra beef broth in case I need to turn to it. And I didn't have any Italian seasoning, so I looked on Pinterest and I found a quick recipe. So I'm gonna put what's left in this tomato sauce can. Couple teaspoons of tomato paste. I'll have a little bit left. I'll put that in a small container and put it in the freezer. To get this mixed together to break up that tomato paste. Now I'm going to put this whole quart in there. Get that mixed up. All right, I'm going to open up my diced tomatoes and we'll go from there. I might end up opening up some of this tomato sauce. If I don't use all of it, I'll just put it in a small container and I'll freeze it. I'm going to use a whole tablespoon at first, put it in there, get it stirred up, see how it looks. Add some of the burger. Now this burger was cooked with onions, so there's onion in there already. I'm going to put 2 cups. Now we want this more of a soupy base. So we'll see how that is. I think I'm going to add a 1/2 cup more. Okay, so that is going to be it. I'm going to put it into its containers, label them, and get them into the freezer. And again, this is going to be the base for lasagna soup. And we can put in, some people would put in ricotta cheese. We probably won't do that. We'll just put some mozzarella and maybe some Parmesan cheese in with it and eat it as a soup. Never done this before. I'm just winging it. All right, for my meatloaf, I lately have been using, for over a year now, boxed stuffing mix. However, I do have some breadcrumbs that I have made from the sourdough that the end pieces of the sourdough. So I've had these in the freezer downstairs, and I'm going to use them instead of the boxed stuffing mix. So for seasonings, I'm going to be, and this is all up to what you want into your meatloaf. I'm going to have this parsley. I'm going to use that up today. Salt. Onion powder, garlic powder, a little bit of poultry seasoning because that's what's in the stuffing mix as well. Ketchup, of course, eggs, onion, the breadcrumbs, and then this concoction is, you know how you have little bits and, oh, I'm going to lose that egg. Little bits and pieces of ketchup and barbecue sauce and mustard? That's what this is. I mixed barbecue sauce, ketchup, and some mustard together and threw it in the freezer. Got the containers out of my refrigerator. I'm not going to use all of it though. This is overpowered with mustard, so I'm only going to use probably 2 heaping of teaspoons or tablespoons of that. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and get this done. I'm going to use about a tablespoon of all the seasonings except for the poultry. I'm going to probably only use about a 1/2. loaves are made. And this is how I flash freeze them. I flash freeze them in the loaf pans that I am going to probably use to cook them in. And that way then they freeze meatloaf shape. All right, so I've got in here half of an onion chopped up. I had 4 medium-sized carrots. I chopped them up as well. I'm going to be making homemade chicken noodle soup with the meat that I pulled off of the thigh meat from that Greater Value frozen package that I was curious of how much meat was on there. My intentions with that meat all along was to make homemade chicken noodle soup and put it in the freezer for this fall and winter. It'll probably get eaten up before winter. Here are the leftover Amish noodles that I had. You can get those at Walmart as well, where the noodles are. I am softening my vegetables here. Just because that's the thing to do. You don't have to. I've done it without. But today I have time to do it, and so I'm going to do it. I'm going to soften it up. And I'm just going to bring you along for what I've got going on here. So I am still defrosting the chicken meat. I had it out for a couple days, but it sat back in the back of my refrigerator, and so it didn't thaw out that well. Here's some chicken broth that I had made up. Still some frozen chunks in it, but that's okay. I'm going to keep the fat in all of it. And I have one more container of chicken broth. This one right here. And this one I think I'm going to have to probably, I think I will take some of the fat off the top of that one. And here is that chicken that I'm going to use. Set this over here. All right, I shut this off so that I could focus on getting that fat out of here. All right, so like I had said, I don't mind having some fat in my chicken noodle soup, but I don't want a whole bunch of it. That's why I did scrape some of that off. And I am gonna have to cut down some of this meat, and I will do that once I make room here. I get all this out of here, get the stock in here, and get that going. Then I can chop up the meat. The meat's already cooked. There's just some chunks in here that are a little too big for my liking. So I'm gonna start getting all this in here. Be careful, because some of this is still frozen. I don't want it to splatter up on me. And the chicken broth is also gel. And when it's gel, that means you've got some really good chicken broth, because you've gotten everything that you possibly could out of those chicken bones that you processed, which is what I did. All right. I'm going to clean up this mess, and I'll bring you right back. I forgot to turn the camera on to show you that I just ended up putting all the noodles in there. And now I'm just going to wait till they get done. Then I'm going to cool this off, package it up, and put it downstairs for a future freezer meal. Friends, that's going to wrap this video up. I hope it was informational to you. Like I had mentioned in the beginning, we're on different diets right now, but we will revisit these meals. And like I also said, there are some that we are eating currently still. I don't have room in my freezers right now to make a whole bunch of freezer meals as it is. So I guess we're kind of lucky that we're doing different diets because there's just no room to store freezer meals. And I like to do freezer meals because it's easy and convenient for me. All right, I want to thank you folks so much for joining me today. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and I want you folks to make it a really great day.